they're kind of just teaching them that lesson. Like James said, for anyone that thinks that they're bigger than the league, bigger than the game, yeah, NFL is always willing to show you that you're not.
Welcome back to Hits and Hoops. I'm Tyler with my pick and roll partner, Dixon. What's good, Chicho?
Yo, yo, what's going on?
Also, we have a very special guest. If you listen, you know my main man, James. Was good?
What's going on, fellows? We back.
We
Yes, sir,
bite.
we are. Today, we're going to be jumping into quite a few things. We're going to talk NFL draft. We're going to talk NBA playoffs round one, and then a preview into round two, along with a couple other interesting topics that we wanted to discuss. Before we get started, please make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, comment. We love the comments on IG, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Dixon, we're almost at 5K on YouTube. I just want to say
5K
shout out y'all. We got to come up with a
for
name
sure.
for our listeners. I don't know what, but we
Mm,
got to come up with a name for our fans.
that's a good
Uh,
one. Yeah, we do.
we do. If you have any ideas, James, if you have some ideas, that would be great too. I want to get started into NFL. It was, we haven't recorded for about 2 weeks, so we got a lot to talk about. We had a lot happen in this past 2 weeks, on and off courts, fields, and podiums. So I will say, first thing, NFL draft. The main story, Sheduer drops to round five. Dixon, I know you are cooking a buffet over there. So please give me your thoughts, your reaction, and how you feeling 2 weeks later from Shador's slide.
I got a whole pack of muffins waiting to cook on this topic, but honestly, I wanted to ask y'all what y'all thought because y'all weren't as high on Shador as me, but I wanted y'all to think of the reason and why he slid all the way to fifth. Because even people that weren't as high on him as I was, I don't think anyone had him going that far down in the draft.
No,
So what did y'all think about it?
I'll start, James. I'll start.
Yep.
Everybody because I think for some reason he was he was like it was the media guys like Stephen A. and a couple of those ESPN guys. They felt like they put him in the top five for TV reasons. And you referred to it a couple weeks ago, Dixon. Like he did have a really good season individually, not much team success, but I think
But there
the
was
guys that
legitimate
actually
like mock drafters like Mel Kiper and them that also put them in the top five.
the media guys, but the guys that were
I see
actually
what you mean.
scouts, the guys that were actually scouts, the guys that actually, they're not on TV, they're not on shows. This is like their full analysis. Were a bit lower, and it wasn't five. But I'm gonna
Right.
tell you why it was five. It's not agreeable, but I'm gonna tell you why it was five. So a lot of them had him outside the first round. I did hear someone say he was a third rounder.
I heard
Um,
third round at the latest.
yeah,
Like
the
maybe a
latest,
couple, once or two were like maybe
the
third round.
latest, and it's like what we brought up. He didn't do a lot of like special things, okay? And he's a borderline starter. That's what people say. Good backup borderline starter, which that's not anything to stick your nose up at, in my
In a
opinion.
terrible draft class,
In my opinion.
quarterback draft class.
Quarterback,
You got
right?
to take that into account too.
Very true, very true. So you think, okay, if he falls, that's fine. But the fifth round, and why did he drop to the fifth round? I think it's just everything that comes with Shador, wanted or unwanted, for a backup borderline starter quarterback. Some even say he won't be in the league. He won't play on the Browns. Think it's kind of crazy. That's to me that's unrealistic. But he might not be on a roster, right? You talk about his dad, which in my opinion, I think Dion's gonna. I think he's gonna draw a line somewhere. I don't think he's gonna do what a lot of people think he would do while
For sure,
Shador's on the team.
he's busy.
He's
He
a
got his own team
professional.
to worry about.
Maybe he says like something here and there, but I don't think he's going to be gunning for no one's job. I really don't. So that's one reason. The ego. I heard more than one stories when it came to the draft process with interviews and stuff. That's alarming. But so this average player, maybe average player, possibly backup, is going to have this extra baggage. And to me, it reminded me a little bit of Kaepernick's situation because Kaepernick at the end of his career was backup,
But why are you saying average player backup?
like not a starter. You're looking at like maybe the 35th through 40th quarterback in the league. So not a starter. He'll be a backup. Hopefully, one day he would be a starter and a
No,
superstar.
I think he's a projected starter for sure. Even though his draft pick might have not said that, but projected starter.
So all that carried on his back. Plus, you're going to be a team that obviously the Browns took a quarterback before him. But that's not really talked about because Shador got picked. So I think it's just a player that's a borderline starter with the extra baggage and a little bit of like kind of like fuck this guy, like from
From the
not
owners,
not the
the yacht
owners,
club.
but like just the league.
No, it's all come from the owners. It comes from directly to the top.
So what you
They're
think
really
about?
the ones that run the league. James, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's a big what if, what moment, right? So the owners do run the league. I agree with that. But I also agree with the point of if you're that guy and you're that good, it doesn't matter what you have coming with you. Like you're gonna get picked regardless if you're that good. And what Tyler was saying, I think the biggest thing was I think the baggage is the biggest problem with Shador. And like his whole little rap music career on the side, nobody wants to deal with that. You're a rookie. You're not even, like you're almost bigger than the game. You act like you're bigger than the game already. And you're coming out of college. I think that's what's kind of getting lost a little bit here with the old school NFL mentalities and all these new school guys is with now NIL, these kids are becoming bigger than the game before they get to the game. And I think that's rubbing people the wrong way. Um, do I think Shador has talent? Yes. Was I shocked that he fell to the fifth? Yes. Now, I didn't think he was a first round pick by no means. But what was really alarming to me was when the Giants passed on him. You're like, oh, okay, that was one team. Okay, they passed, and then all of a sudden you started hearing the reports about they put in a little install. He came unprepared, this and that, and that stuff probably spreads around the league. But the biggest thing for me is when the Steelers passed on him, not once, but then twice, and then three times. I'm like, something's going on here. There is something more to this because of any team in the NFL right now that needs a quarterback, it's the Steelers.
For
You have
sure. There's
Mason,
a few
you have
teams.
Mason Rudolph and Kyler Thompson on your roster right now.
That's tough.
Aaron Rodgers is the projected starter, or they think that's where he's going to go, just playing the Rodgers game, right? But as of right now, you have essentially nobody. And you didn't even take this guy for a flyer? Like after the second round, a third round flyer? Come on, man. Let the guy sit behind Rodgers if you still take Rodgers. But at this point, you're not paying him first round money. You're not paying him second round money. So that to me was the biggest thing with Shador. But I don't think his stats were that crazy. Like, oh my gosh, this guy is a top three quarterback. Like I've always said in college, is if you're that good, you will help your team win games. Colorado's schedule is not the toughest schedule in the league in the league. And they lost some games. You're like, wow, how? I get they had holes in their offensive line. They had certain things, but you had the number two player that got picked in the draft on your team. But we're probably going to talk about in a little bit. But you have some guys but if you're that guy, you do will your team to some wins. And I'll still come back to like Trevor Lawrence not having the greatest NFL career. People are starting to speculate on him. But what did he do in college? He won football games with a mediocre team at times in Clemson because he was that good. He took over games. So I just didn't see it in Shador. And then there was a DB that came out and was like, "Oh, if he doesn't get rid of that little twitch thing, we're gonna pick him off all day," you know. And I think when you get deeper in the game, people realize it's a lot harder than you project.
Yeah, no, what I thought, like what Tyler was alluding to, I think it was just like well, first of all, talent wise, I didn't have a problem with people saying like first or second round because wasn't nothing like we previously said popping off the tape, but
Were
it
you
was just
surprised? Were
consistency.
you surprised about him not going in the top five?
Not the top five, but once the
Yeah.
Steelers, like James said, I think that was a
Right.
marker for everyone. Like once they didn't get him, you knew something was up
Yeah,
just
for
because of
sure.
like the need of a quarterback. And then once they just started drafting all these other quarterbacks before him, that's when things got really disrespectful.
That was
That
yeah,
was crazy.
yeah.
Especially
Because
there's
even
there's a
if
couple of suspected calls there. You're like, whoa, this guy over
for
him? No
sure,
way,
for
no way.
sure, no way. And then because even if he was projected later, maybe if he wasn't, crazy of a talent, he was still on most people's boards like the second best quarterback in the
Speaking of
class.
that, bro. Speaking of that, the Mel Kiper freakouts on live TV.
Oh, I love Mel Kiper.
I loved him going off. It
Hey,
was
I love Mel
hilarious.
Kiper going off because he knew something was up. He had to stand up for it, but
He was going
obviously
crazy.
he went crazy.
It was so
He
funny.
he showed off, but no, I think it's just a message to the league because I think what makes Shador different than other quarterbacks that came with like certain type of clout, whether it was Johnny Manziel or others, is like the money that he has, the legacy that he has. He doesn't necessarily need the league. So they're kind of just teaching them that lesson. Like James said, for anyone that thinks that they're bigger than the league, bigger than the game, yeah, NFL is always willing to show you that you're not. So I think it was just a lesson like that. Unfortunately, he didn't have, the crazy over the top talent to overcome that part of it. But I still think he's in a great position in Cleveland. I think, he should be able to outperform all the other quarterbacks through training camp and practices and everything, and should be able to get a chance, I think, to start at least once this season.
So one thing I want to bounce on one thing both of y'all said. Um, but one thing I heard that I thought was pretty interesting is that in Colorado, there's a lot of ex NFL head coaches, or not head coaches, but coaching that work with Dion or for Dion or even consolidate with him,
Yeah,
right?
he brought that whole coaching stuff there.
Right. So it's a lot of NFL guys, and I know what some people think in the NFL is that when you go to an Alabama, when you go to a high program with NFL experience, Alabama, Clemson, you alluded to earlier, um, the Tigers. I mean, I could go on and on, right? Some people think that that maxes out a player because that was the program they were in. So would that program either get excel or stay the same when they come into the NFL? So, you know, I heard that could have been something. He was already this is as good as it's going to get for him, kind of mentality because he's already running an NFL system. I know he didn't have a lot of I mean he complained about his O line a couple times in the media. That was like that's alarming. That's for a
His O
quarterback.
line
That's
was dumb trash.
that's a no. You
He
can't
was
do
one of the
that.
most hit quarterbacks. And to counter
You
what you
can't
were
do that.
saying, I think you were just your algorithm was just feeding you all the haters and the doubters for Shador, your sources. But um he showed you he could do it at two different programs, two different levels, two different playbooks, two different systems, two different teams. So I think that shows you, his ability to adapt and change.
Two different teams, but let's be honest, he had kind of a fairy tale college career because his dad was his coach, tailored around him in a sense,
Yeah, but they
right?
went to a HBCU, which talent wise is a lot less than just for a a off the field move that they were trying to accomplish, more of a message move they're trying to accomplish, and they dominated over there,
Mm-hmm.
Jackson State.
No, for sure. I mean, this might be, a little bit off topic in a sense, but we talk about, and I mentioned about being bigger than the game. And this is, and I don't think we'll get back to this. And that's why I want to bring this up is the craziest part about these kids coming out of college is you look at Quinn Ewers, now a third string quarterback for the Dolphins right now going into
Oh,
preseason,
that's
right?
awesome.
He was projected to possibly get a $9 million NIL deal in college.
Damn, from who?
He could have transferred to Ohio State or another team, but they're saying
Shit.
he could have made up to $7 to $9 million if he stayed another year in college.
Damn.
His NFL contract, I think, is $1 or $2 million because he got
Crazy.
picked in the 7th round.
No, I think seventh
Now,
is like way lower. 600, I
now,
think.
yeah, like I don't even, yeah. So that's a problem to me. Like it's crazy. Like it's going to change the landscape of this sport in a sense where some of these guys, like it's going to be very interesting with how this plays out over the next couple of years because that's a like whoa, that's a big
Yeah.
nut.
It hasn't happened yet, but for sure, there's gonna be like that one quarterback who's like a projected top 5 pick who's gonna stay in college or
Yeah,
whatever. Like,
Top five,
one of
probably
these
not,
guys.
but I know
Maybe
what you
not top 5, but like a higher projected pick that's gonna stay and really, challenge the system in a way. Yeah, but it's looking like that way, James. I agree.
yeah.
It's getting kind of out of hand.
Anything else left on Shador? I mean, what are y'all predictions? I mean, Dixon, I know you said that you think he'll be, if not backup or starting with Cleveland now.
He got
James, what
limited
is
chances though. He gotta
he got to
capitalize at every
perform? He has
chance.
to. Yeah, he
He
has
don't
to.
got he's not that many chances, so he has to.
He has to.
I
James,
think this is his best opportunity now. I think it could possibly be a blessing in disguise. It got served a little bit of humble pie. Now let's go to work and show the people rather than come in like I already know what I'm doing. Maybe
For sure.
go back to the drawing board a little bit and really show this possibly could be the best situation for him on, to really
yeah,
prove
it's the
himself
best.
because there in a sense is no expectations at this point, right? So yeah, it's gonna be
No clear
interesting
cut
because
starter.
the Browns are in a very unique position here coming into the offseason, or into preseason with the amount of quarterbacks they have. Like, where's Gabriel gonna go? Like are they gonna keep
He's
two
competing
rookies?
with Gabriel and Flacco.
Flacco, and then they also have they just picked Kenny Pickett too, right?
Yep. I bet you Flacco was pissed, dude. Two quarterbacks in the draft.
That
He's
boy just
probably
I
happy
don't.
he's still in the league.
Is he though? Tyler, I'm
he's
41.
got to
Yeah,
I'm
be.
he just
40.
happy he still could throw the ball.
I'm 41 years old, man, and Flacco I think might be my age or a year older than me. Like he's got kids. He's a family man. I think he's actually just living the dream right now, being on a team, making that extra
Hey,
5 million
touche.
He
as
already
You
he
know
got his
what? You're
Super
taking
Bowl.
probably
that
He's
right.
good.
5-6 million as he can take it. His
You're
kids are on
pro-
the field with him.
you're probably right,
He's low
bro.
key had like a late career resurgence.
You're making
Yeah,
six
super
I
million
never
backup.
dollars a
would have
year
thought he would still be in the league right by now.
to
Super backup. Yeah.
hold a clipboard to make 6 million. I take it.
But yeah, I'll
I
mentor
thought
that
once
guy.
Lamar took his place, that was it for him.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
All right, going into the next thing. Number 2 pick, Jags traded up. A little bit lofty the trade, but they traded up to number 2 to get Sheduer Sanders' buddy, Travis Hunter. What's your thoughts on that,
Travis
Dixon?
Hunter,
What do you think
Broward's
about that?
very own.
What do you think about that move by the Jags, and how do you think Hunter's going to look in the NFL?
I think it's a total fumble by Cleveland, but it's just typical Cleveland shit. They always do this.
You think Cleveland
Um,
should have drafted him?
of course. I think
But
Cleveland had a chance to get Shador and uh Travis, and that would have been special, even just for the hype, even just for the social media feed. Just would have went crazy. But um nah, I think the Jags made a bold move. I like what the Jags did, and they got, their hometown kid. He's from Florida, Broward, like I said. Um, my thing that I'm so intrigued by with him is like I know he's gonna try. They're gonna try at least the
he might
two
not do it
positions.
forever, but he's going to do it this year.
They're gonna try it, and
Yeah.
from what I saw, from what I've seen, his whole career, he's defined the odds. He's the one guy that defined the odds of people saying you can't do it at every level. So I can't doubt him at this point. But all the pros that I hear, every players that I hear says he can't do that. He said guys are too skilled, too good, too
Yeah,
big. And he said you just got to focus so hard in one position that it's hard to master both. But man, I really am interested to see how they're going to use him because I know they're going to give him the keys to the city. If they traded up to get him at second overall, Travis, you do what you want.
what do you what not I want to talk about Travis, but what do you think about the I know you've seen the clips of the GM, right? He's like 33 or something, and he's like
Oh yeah,
he talks
motivational as
like he's
fuck.
yeah.
He talking like
Yo,
he's running for mayor of Jacksonville.
yo, my man is a president in waiting, man.
I
He should
love
be in
it.
sales. He should be. That's probably how he got up. I'm
I
telling you.
love it. And Jacksonville, they're not like they got their quarterback. So,
Yeah,
they already got the most important piece settled. So they can actually, try to actually be competitive.
they could. Going back to Travis Hunter, I will. I will. I can't wait to see how this story pans out. Right. Um, I think, like I was mentioning a couple minutes ago, I think he will do it. Try to do it his first couple years, but then that will slow down because it's just going to be a lot on his body. What was he like doing 150 snaps in college? That's a lot of football for
Yeah.
one player, and not only doing that, but excelling. So I think probably which whatever he's better at, that's the one will be the long term plan. But I'm excited. Like I'm super excited to see this because
We've
I'm
seen some players do a little bit
a
of
little bit.
both.
The last player I remember is the UM days when we were growing up on Ohio State. Maurice Clarbett was his name, number 13.
Maurice Clarett, the
Yeah,
running back.
yeah. He played on defense too in
I
Ohio
don't
State.
remember him playing defense
Yeah, dude, he was like a safety if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
for Ohio State.
Hmm.
Huh? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Shit, I remember Devin Hester in the beginning. They put him a receiver a little bit
Oh
and
yeah,
kick
that's right.
returner. He was a corner at UM. I
Yeah.
remember
Ooh, I gotta
Julian
look at
Edelman. They
something.
used to have him all around the field. Had him
So
playing
Oh,
offense and
true.
defense, but not like
I'm
just to
talking
select
about.
pick plays
I'm
and
talking.
shit.
Yeah, I'm talking about like on the
Yeah, I'm
field.
just saying players who I've personally seen that just played both sides of the ball, but nah, I don't think it's gonna be done like the way he's about to do it. I think he's gonna be different.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to put on some weight because I saw a lot of highlights and some of them he just looked kind of like
Definitely gonna
Devontae
have to put on
Smith.
some weight. Hey,
Devontae
I,
Smith.
yeah,
I'm ready to go. So you hit it on the head. He's 6'1", 185. Like I I like Travis Hunter. I think he is super special. Like his motor is by far, hands down, like one of the craziest motors I've ever seen. But and he's a goofy son of a bitch. But I will
Yeah,
tell you,
for
man,
sure.
he is about to find out what it's like to get smacked in the mouth. And he 6'1", 185. I just Googled Devin Hester because I was like, that's to me is the only one that I really know that's done both sides effectively that I can remember. Devin Hester is 5'10", 190. So he's already has 5 pounds on him. Okay. But the other person I Googled real quick is my boy Jefferson. But Justin Jefferson, 6'1", like 190, 195. And Jefferson to me has more of a stature on the field than Hunter does. I don't know. Hunter just looks tiny.
He
But
looks smaller, yeah.
the one thing I'm gonna say, man, like, and I'm not even gonna claim this my own because this was some Tyrion Arnold was a DB from Alabama, top notch DB, plays for the Detroit Lions. I think he was a first round pick, right, last year. He was talking and he said that the NFL will humble a guy and it'll break you down if you don't take care of yourself, your body, or study the game. He goes, in college, it's easy to go into a game. One week you play against your top LSU SEC team. Then the next week you're playing against a Max 10 team. Then the next week you might be playing against another ACC team, mediocre guys. Then the next week you play against another out of conference game. Then the next week you play SEC. He goes, in the NFL, there are no days off. You play against the best every single day because they're all trying to take the job. They're all trying to show what they have. And yeah, you think about that, but the way he put it in words was like, this guy thinks he's going to be able to run both sides of the ball like he did in college, but even the slot receiver, the fourth receiver, is still better than the number one receiver on some of these teams he guarded against. Like, he is going to get exposed so bad at certain moments. Like, he gets a little fatigued, they're going after him all day. I don't think it's going to be, they're going to do it. It's going to be fun to watch, but I don't see it being sustained at all.
It's not gonna. Yeah, it's not a long-term thing. There's just no way.
No.
There's just no
Now,
way. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, is he going to be defensive guy or is he going to be an offensive guy? Because I still think he's a tiny receiver.
Now, I think
But
from what I know about him, I think he stay. I think he goes offense.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
he's gonna go offense.
I think
And
he goes
James, from what you said, it sounds like he just needs to add 5 to 10 pounds, and he'll be good.
yeah,
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 he's the type. Everything that we've learned about him in this draft process, we know he's a hard worker and he's all about football.
That's one thing.
oh,
He's like opposite of Shador when it comes to
He's
off the
all
field.
about football.
All the off the field stuff with him, you love. His goofiness,
yeah.
he don't really do much. He's not it apart from his girlfriend. She got hey, she got away from everything. He told her you can't be around cameras, you can't tweet. But besides her, love the kid. Great kid.
Yeah,
Football
no,
kid.
I'd love to see him do well. I mean, Jacksonville needs that kind of a player. They need some
A
electricity
spark.
there.
For
For
sure,
And
sure.
they
for
got that
sure.
boy Brian Thomas. So Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter, watch
Yeah.
out.
I really
Well,
thought not to go. I thought the Jags were going to go Genty.
who is their
James
running back right now?
ETN.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
He
I think
kind of
they're.
fell off.
I think they're done with him. He fumbles too much.
Yeah, I think he fell off last year.
James, how well did you think the Vikings did in the draft? I know they have what 4 picks.
Yeah, 4 or 5 picks, but they traded a few of them. Um, Honestly, I this draft wasn't very. I'm always so excited to see what the first pick of your team is. And
Of course.
the Vikings did so much this offseason and spent a ton of money, and I'm super super happy with the way we're loaded right now and the way we built. I wasn't sure exactly which direction they were going to go, if they're going to try to get another linebacker or offensive line, just because obviously there's always injuries, right? But from what I've been seeing about this offensive lineman that they picked, he looks like a stud. He can be outside tackle or a guard, very plug and play. If O'Neal can stay healthy, and if we can keep Darisaw healthy, those two top five tackles in the league, put them inside. We struggled at guard last year really bad. It's going to be interesting because we picked up Will Freeze, we picked up Ryan Clark, or not Ryan Clark. Not two Colts offensive linemen that are pretty decent. Is it Ryan Clark? Might be. I don't know. Either way, so I like it a lot. I think the wild card for me, and I didn't know much about this guy. What's crazy is our second pick, Felton, out of Maryland. Besides Addison and Jefferson, like, it kind of falls off. And this kid led the Big Ten in receptions last year with 96 and 1,200 yards receiving. Like,
Wow.
that's a pretty decent year. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. He had 9 touchdown catches. So to throw an extra weapon on the offensive side, I think is
For sure.
huge. With the tight ends, if Hawkinson can stay healthy and be healthy, he's
You
a
got Aaron
receiving tight
Jones
end as
back.
well. Aaron
Yep. Good
Jones.
call.
Then we
Yep.
picked up Jordan Mason from San Francisco.
Oh, okay. He's
Okay.
So
nice.
Yeah.
yeah, banger there as well.
I say y'all give my boy Van Ginkel a contract. Thank you.
They extended him, which was really cool. He deserved it, man.
Like
He played,
23, right?
Oh my God.
yeah, lights
He
out.
balled out last year.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Hey, that
Defense
blonde hair and that purple go hand in hand.
looks good. He's the
Viking.
Viking,
Yeah.
but then the defense, man, the two Javon Hargrave and then Jonathan Allen on the line with what we already have, and then the linebacking, like defensive backs, we re-signed Murphy, Okuda, kind of as a slot dime guy, maybe nickel dime if you need him if he stays healthy. But we will have Mekhi Becton come back this year, Blackman or whatever from injury last year.
So
I,
it seems like they're going for it again. They're not gonna wait for
Yeah.
JJ.
I'm about to
JJ,
say.
we
yeah.
can't wait for you. We ready right now.
Yeah.
Well, and that's my biggest thing, guys. I keep saying is, I'm not saying JJ's not the guy, and I really hope he is. It's just you've gone all in on defense. You just spent over $100 million in offseason to put guys in position to win now, right? And
Mm.
um, offense, defense, and then you're going to roll with essentially a rookie quarterback that didn't play last year at all. Like, I
But
hope, yeah,
to me, all the moves they've been doing, they have to feel a strong way about him, or else they would
oh,
have addressed it.
100%. I mean, I have a ton of faith in Kevin McConnell. I think he has showed that he's a great coach, and he can put guys in a position to succeed and excel, right? Just being a Vikings fan, I still have that like WTF, like what are we doing, right? And then you pick Sam Howell is our backup. Like really, like we know things happen in the NFL. People go down, players get hurt, and like this is who we're gonna go with as our backup with
Right.
essentially the most money ever spent on a roster in Vikings history, and then this is what we're gonna do at the quarterback level. I'm very confused, honestly, but they clearly have a ton of confidence in JJ.
Yeah,
Clearly.
they should. You know, they should. They put
Seems
some
like they're
equity.
new. Seems like they're doing that new. Well, it's not really new, but I would say the modern NFL motto, which is capitalize off a quarterback on the rookie deal, build a
Yeah,
roster around
100%.
them, and go for it.
You put
yeah,
all the money everywhere else and you save on that 50, 60, $70 million that you'd be paying a quarterback.
Yep.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
what San Francisco's going through right now. So I got to pay Purdy. But so to wrap that up, give me a letter grade for their drafts and their
I
up.
say B plus.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Going on talking about our Dolphins and James, I know that's your second team ish. So they had 8 picks in this year's draft. Dixon, what are your thoughts on the direction that they're going, and what did you think about this draft?
Whatever happened with the Michigan DB? Who ended up picking him? Where did he go?
Like, I
Another
think late second.
Has he had what, like
no.
injury?
He had a bad injury, and they said that if he ran the 40, it was going to be like a 4.7 or something like that.
Didn't
So,
he go later than like Sheduer?
no, I don't think so. What was it like? Will something?
And he that was another one that was crazy because everybody
Yeah,
kept
he
talking about
dropped
that
like
one too.
crazy.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
know he had some serious injuries.
I thought we should have addressed the DB at the first pick. I feel like we've been trying to replace Wilkins, replace a few of the guys that we already had drafted and
They
lost.
didn't try hard enough last year. They
But I think we got to work hard to replace what we're losing on that secondary. We lost Xavier Howard a few years back. Then we lost Holland, and now potentially going to lose Ramsey. So I would like to see us get that next great Dolphins DB for the first round pick. I think the rest of the draft, was pretty well. That was just my only gripe. What did you think though? And
I thought
what do
that
you think about the guy though? The guy that we did end up drafting.
Grant, I think he's gonna be. I looked at it like this: he was a second defensive lineman taken in the draft. He's gonna be a pick for a long time. In my opinion, the what I hear about him, the what I saw about him, like he's gonna be good. Is it gonna be this year? I don't know, but he's gonna be in the middle for a long time. And he's a nose tackle, so they're gonna probably play a certain type of defense where there's gonna be five on the line or over center at all time, just mauling two other guys. And not to mention his teammate went number 5 to Cleveland and made his teammate look, really good. So I think him and Sealer will have a good connection because they're both fucking monsters, and they both can move a little bit. So I wasn't. I'm 100% with you. Like the secondary shit is very concerning. And the only reason why I don't think they got secondary help in the draft specifically is because they're going for at least two of those veterans that are still on the street, like Rasul Douglas, like a Gilmore. Like they're gonna have to pay some money to those veteran corners and take a
Or
risk
maybe
on that.
they, or maybe they even plan to keep going on Ramsey.
I know. I think he's gone, dude. I think they're waiting till June. What is it, June 1st? Then it's like the new year starts and they can get rid of him. Because if they trade him now, they lose, I think it's 10 mil. If they trade him after, I think they gain 8. So they're wait. It's
But
a financial thing.
the fact they
Yeah.
didn't address the DB in the draft shows you
100%.
that they have a
100%.
plan.
But Grant, I'm high on. I know they trade up for an offensive guard, Jonah. I'm not going to even try his last name yet. He looked good. I heard that there was 10 elite-ish offensive linemen, and he was like 8, 9, or 10 off the board. So that's promising. He's also Hawaiian, so he knows Tua. He's familiar with Tua. They're very similar when it comes to that. So that's a good chemistry thing. He's a monster too. I mean, he's like 330 himself. So that's promising. They did trade up, which that kind of sucks because we lost 2 mid-round picks because they went from 1 and 2 to having 3 5s, 2 6s, and 3 7s. And we both know, fellas, you get the 5 6 7 range, like you're really lucky to make the team.
Yeah.
So that's very concerning. I mean, it's like what, a 10-15% chance you make the roster. Now, don't quote me on that, but that's very concerning when we need so much and you're just like, let's opt out on these 2 better guys and get 6
Yeah.
other guys. Like the rest is concerning. I do like everything I do hear about Ollie Gordon, the running back, because he won running back of the year the prior year. I mean, he couldn't come out yet because he was a sophomore. So his junior season, the team just wasn't good. So that's why he kind of slid so far. But it was a lukewarm draft because we had so many late picks and they got to hit. Half of these players have to hit.
Seems
And
like
from
they're
this
still trying to appease like all the veterans that we have right now. Like, seems like we're just trying to keep it going with this probably for one last year. And then
Well,
we'll
this
see
is
them
this is
start.
the year for this era. This is the year
And then we'll
for it.
probably see them, draft a little bit more aggressively. But I think that was, their final draft to give this team a chance.
I could see 3 out of these 8 players being on the team the following year when all those guys are gone. Because when new front office, new everything, they want their guys. These ain't the guys we got. These ain't our
Yeah.
guys. You feel me? And
Yeah.
and Ewers was kind of surprising to me because I don't want these guys picking these players that are going to be here long term because you might not be here. Ewers probably won't be on the roster if Greer and McDaniel are gone. It's just kind of what it is.
So let me ask you something about the Quinn Ewers thing, and it kind of makes me shake my head and just like why, and it might be a little bit of Miami homerism and whatnot, but what's the point of taking a Quinn Ewers when you clearly have Tua as your starter? You're paying him the money. You just signed Zach Wilson to be your backup. He can be a serviceable backup, right? Hasn't been put in the greatest situations. I would take Zach Wilson right now over Quinn Ewers just because you know what you're getting, right? Why wouldn't you draft an Xavier Restrepo as a slot receiver, like coming out of Miami, knows the stadium, knows the area. Like that dude had one of the most historical careers in Miami Hurricanes history. Like the guy went undrafted, which I crazy to me. But you take a quarterback. Why wouldn't you try to take a flyer on somebody in the 7th round like that?
Well, I think when it comes to Miami situation, they have to have a third quarterback.
Have to.
Have to. So
First,
Ewers must have showed something that he had traits that were similar to Tua's or Zach Wilson at that I wouldn't know about because I every time I watched college football, he wasn't playing. So I do know he's got a durability issue. And so I think they have to have a third. Why did they go with Ewers? Why did they go that situation? I think they're just trying to build him up and teach him the way
Yeah.
that they play football. And is it the right thing to do? Shit, we'll find out.
nah, I think we definitely needed to get a quarterback because Tua is liable to miss 2 to 4 games each year. You could write it down. You could bet paycheck on it right now if you want. Guaranteed. Zach Wilson is the backup. That could go south really quick. We've seen that go south really quick. So then you need a backup for the backup.
The only
which
thing
is
with
where
Zach
the
Wilson that I
coordinator
feel
things comes in.
the only thing with Zach Wilson that I feel confident about is that he was with a real head coach last year. He wasn't with a Saleh. He
Yeah,
was with Sean Payton.
Mm.
And I
yep.
think I think when those journeymen go to, well, he's a journeyman now, right? Third team. When they go into good organizations, and they don't have to play, but they back up a good situation. I think there is a lot of learning because Tom Brady said it best. Like a lot of these guys get thrown into the fire and they're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Got to learn it.
If he had distractions with MILFs before,
Shit.
now that he's in Miami, he gonna
That's why
really
he
have
probably
to stay
signed.
focused. He gonna really have to stay focused now,
You don't have a milk problem. You got a Latina problem now,
bro.
boy.
Latino
um,
MILFs.
so a few other things that I wanted to talk about with the draft. One thing I am really excited about, and this has unfortunately been overlooked by Sanders, Cam Ward to the Titans. I'm so excited to see him in the NFL. And I learned a few things, a little bit more background on Callahan, the head coach. I'm even more excited to see. People have said think that Callahan is a very very good offensive minded coach for quarterbacks. This is a perfect situation for Cam and him. So I'm really excited for Cam, and it's unfortunate that he was overshadowed by a lot of other storylines.
Yeah, man, yeah, I'm excited for him too, Tyler. But it comes down to, for me, I'm not sold on him either,
He
though.
won't be
Like,
perfect at first. He won't.
because
I'm thinking upside.
what did Miami do? What did he do for Miami? Like, he lost close games. He lost shootouts. Like, I don't know, man. He had some bloated stats because like they would run it up and they would this and that. But yeah, Miami's offensive line was, again, they were horrible too, right? Miami's defense was terrible. Okay, but I hope he's good. I hope he does well. I'm not sold on him. I'm just not.
But James, you can admit you've watched football a long time. You can admit when he drops back in that pocket, he has a different feng shui about him. And you
Yeah,
Different
can
type
see no, he's
of.
not perfect. He's
he's
not
too
perfect.
nonchalant for me. He's gonna get
He's not perfect, but you
yeah.
got it. I mean,
His swag.
I can see everything that could come with him. Like I can see the elevation of him. He elevates his players on and off the field. The when he learns the NFL a little bit more, is it going to be this year? Is it going to be next year? But I think long term, I think he's going to be awesome. I really do. And
You know who the Titans signed as an undrafted free agent?
yeah, the
Restrepo.
Stratford boy.
That
Yeah,
was a beautiful move.
Yeah, it was super smart. I was hoping the Vikings were going
Beautiful
to
move.
snag him. Like, I know Restrepo's not the fastest guy in the world, but he's gritty. Like, you need one of those savvy dudes sometimes, man. And that's great for Cam Ward because they have the chemistry already.
Yeah,
another
and in the
another
league has been proven like the athleticism isn't always the case. And Tyler, I agree with you with Cam Ward. I think the guy's going to be special. And I think, Tennessee, they low key went all in for Will Levis. So he's going to get the leftovers of that process, which isn't, the worst situation in the league. I don't think.
Is
another
Levis
pick. I
still there?
I
Hopefully
don't think
not.
so. I don't think so. Another pick that I really like was Malachi Starks to the Ravens. To put him next to Kyle Hamilton. Everything I heard about Starks, like we're looking at a future All Pro. That's everything that I've heard about him. And to put him next to
Hey, and to put him in Baltimore,
top
he
top
gonna learn.
five,
Yeah.
top five safety, man,
And they still got Humphreys over there.
yeah. I mean, everybody that I heard about him just talks about him as a missile. And I know Dolphins. That was one of their people they had circled, and I learned a little bit about him. He seems like a stud.
If you're a defensive player and you go to Baltimore, all your ratings
They're
plus
good.
10. All
They're
your
good.
ratings plus 10 automatically.
What did you
For
guys think
real.
about Jeanty to the Raiders?
I thought that was dope. Raiders kind of building up. They kind of charging up over there too.
I just feel more confident with Pete Carroll. I don't know why. Like I'm okay with him.
And he's old school, run the
Yeah, run
ball.
the rock, run the rock.
So
Yeah,
Genchi, he's due for a breakout rookie season. One of them.
yeah.
And we've seen that to be a trend the last couple of years where these rookie running backs come in and dominate from the start.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
excited.
I think it was a solid pick too. I mean, I think it's probably it was the safest pick because the Raiders need so much. Where do you start? And you clearly need a running back. Yeah, you have Geno Smith, but you could use a receiver. You could use, you know, offensive line defense. But I think Jeanty was a very very smart safe pick to initialize the run game, right, to potentially help Geno. I'll be curious to see his as the season goes on. He carried a lot in college, and you see these guys get wore down. I'll be curious to see how the workload is for him and if he can maintain the level of dominance because he's a big dude.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
sure. Hey man, and that tape, that is one of the greatest highlight tapes I've ever seen.
For sure,
John
man.
T. Genti highlight tape. Him and Travis Hunter's upside is generational. So
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really excited to
I agree,
see
man.
what those two guys do.
Oh man,
100%.
you take Hunter away, with what he did this year, and then the hype of Shador, other guys, but like Jonty had clearly probably one of the best running
All
back
time.
seasons that I personally can remember witnessing. That kind of almost
Yes.
got like not talked about very much because it's like, wow, the fact that he didn't even take second, I think, in Heisman was shocking to me.
The last time I seen the running back dominate like that was Reggie Bush to me.
You know,
Like
Those Bush
I
days
gotta
were
put him up there.
crazy.
I gotta put him up there. He wasn't going down the first or the second guy. It's
yeah,
always at least
it's
the
like
third guy.
you know it's coming, you still couldn't stop it.
Couldn't
You know,
stop it.
Another pick I thought was pretty interesting was Loveland over Tyler Warren. I know Tyler Warren was talked about as possibly a generational player, playing with Penn State, and I didn't even know much about this Loveland guy. But the Bears to grab him with their new head coach, um, what's my man's name?
oh, the
Detroit
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. That's right.
Detroit's
Um,
OC.
Yeah, him grabbing, being that team is very tight end friendly. So him grabbing Loveland over Tyler Warren, because I heard so much about Tyler Warren, I thought that was interesting. So that put a big like exclamation mark over Loveland to me. So that's someone I'm going to be watching a lot. And then the last one that I love this because I don't know why, but I really like hardball version on the Chargers for some reason. I don't know why, but them drafting Amari Hampton from North Carolina.
Yeah,
Dude, I heard that Hampton was number one if Genty wasn't here, if Genty wasn't in this draft. And he went to a run friendly offense and a run friendly head coach. So I'm really excited. And him growing up within 20 minutes from here, people knew about him. People really liked him and rooted for him. So I'm really excited for that.
I think that's a solid pick too. Yeah, another old school coach that still believes in the run game, right? Defense and run wins games, but I think he went to a good team for potential in his career
He'll
for
be sharing
sure.
the backfield with Najee, so they're both gonna be
Yeah,
bruisers and shoot, it's a huge upgrade from what they were last year.